I'm a big horror junkie. In particular, I like cosmic horror, and if you don't know what that is, it's a subgenre of horror like supernatural horror, slasher horror, or frickin' zombies, I guess, because since they're practically their own subgenre at this point. Cosmic horror deals with the idea that humanity is completely irrelevant. We're a cosmic fluke at best, or some other indescribable being's playthings at worst. And the key thing to cosmic horror is that there's nothing we can do about it. Humanity is completely unable to uh, find our own destiny, or like we literally are the ants on the anthill in cosmic horror. And I first got into it when years ago with a meme, believe it or not, about this guy called Lovecraft, which I'd only slightly heard of. And it was the meme was a picture of him with the phrase, "And they all lived happily ever after." Just kidding. They're all dead or insane. And my horror fan mind went, "Who is this? What is this?" So I looked into it, read some of his stories, and was like, yeah, creepy cults, deity-like beings outside of space and time, this is definitely my thing. And eventually, I found other authors like him that I enjoyed reading about, in particular Thomas Ligotti, Simon Strancis, Mike Allen, and my personal favorite, Laird Barron. If you like weird horror, Barron is your man. And as much as I love Cthulhu and Dagon and Azathoth, Barron's The Children of Old Leech mythos genuinely terrifies me. He has the only book cover whose title alone gives me the creeps, especially if you read some of his other work before this particular one, The Beautiful Thing That Awaits Us All. And just saying the title out loud gives me the heebie-jeebies. I love this type of horror. So my love of horror, cosmic horror especially, led me to my own writing style and preferences. I enjoy dark fantasy too. It's my favorite fantasy genre or subgenre. So I mix these together to make my own stuff, including my first trilogy that I'm in the middle of. So creepy villages, dark cults, things so profane and bewildering and massive that just knowing about them drives you insane. That's my favorite. I love it. I will gobble up everything of that I can find. And that's why I started narrating some of these stories, legally safe public domain ones, on the Dark Volumes, which is my podcast because everybody has a podcast now, so I made one too. Um, and I did this because I like reading these anyway, and I feel like my voice is a great fit for them. So I just narrate these and put them out there for other people to listen to too. So, Lovecraft, Edgar Allan Poe, eventually Frankenstein will get up there too. But the newest story just went up. It's actually a ghost story, but there's plenty of other cosmic horror stories on there too. And I've added a clip of it here just for those who listen to my rambling this whole time about my geeky love for cosmic horror. Thanks, everyone. Sir Hugh Ockram smiled as he sat by the open window of his study in the late August afternoon. A curiously yellow cloud obscured the low sun, and the clear summer light turned lurid, as if it had been suddenly poisoned and polluted by the foul vapors of a plague. Sir Hugh's face seemed at best to be made of fine parchment drawn skin-tight over a wooden mask, in which two sunken eyes peered from far within. The eyes peered from under wrinkled lids, alive and watchful like toads in their holes, side by side and exactly alike. But as the light changed, a little yellow glare flashed in each. He smiled, stretching pale lips across discolored teeth in an expression of profound self-satisfaction, blended with the most unforgiving hatred and contempt for the human doll. Nurse MacDonald, who was 100 years old, said that when Sir Hugh smiled, he saw the faces of two women in hell, two dead women he had betrayed. The smile widened. The hideous disease of which Sir Hugh was dying had touched his brain. His son stood beside him, tall, white, and delicate as an angel in a primitive picture. And though there was deep distress in his violet eyes as he looked at his father's face, He felt the shadow of that sickening smile stealing across his own lips, parting and drawing them against his will. It was like a bad dream, for he tried not to smile and smiled the more. Beside him, strangely like him in her wan, angelic beauty, with the same shadowy golden hair, the same sad violet eyes, the same luminously pale face, Evelyn Warburton rested one hand upon his arm. As she looked into her uncle's eyes, she could not turn her own away, and she too knew that the deathly smile was hovering on her own red lips, drawing them tightly across her little teeth, while two bright tears ran down her cheeks to her mouth and dropped from the upper to the lower lip. The smile was like the shadow of death, and the seal of damnation upon her pure young face.